Hi, this is going to be about the EQ, using EQ in DrumPerfectPro. The EQ in DrumPerfectPro is non-destructive, meaning it doesn't change the actual sample sound. The EQ appears to be applied in real time and is saved with the drum kit settings, which is something, I guess it's not as important now because people are not using DrumPerfect version 1 because those settings would not transfer. So again, any changes that you apply to the sample that you're working on are non-destructive and they're applied in real time. It could be that DrumPerfect creates a cached version of the EQ'd sample, but I haven't verified this. At any event, when you save a kit that you've created various settings with as far as EQ, compression, and other things, those are all saved with the kit file, the kit setting. And when you wrap it up and send it off, the samples will not be altered, but the settings will be applied when you load the kit. So I just wanted to show a simple use of the EQ in DrumPerfectPro. So I'm going to load a pattern. I'm going to load something that shows us some dynamics. And I'm going to load a kit that's very simple. And this kit does have EQ. So let's look at the EQ that comes loaded with that I created that comes loaded with this kit. So we go to sample EQ. Now to see the EQ on a certain sample, you have to select the sample. Now I don't have anything. Oh, yes, I do. Okay. So you can see I've got some EQ applied to the high level, the high velocity sample, and then if I select the low velocity sample, oh, this is the kick, yeah. So I've applied this to the kick drum. The snare drum, the low velocity has a little boost in the top end, and the high velocity has nothing. So now the reason, let's look at this snare drum. The reason that I boosted that high end on this particular sample is you'll notice in the pattern that there are some grace notes here. Now they're set on a lower probability factor. They just played just now, if you just heard that. And they didn't play there. But in order to really make that stand out a little more, I just raised the top end on that just a tiny bit, and you can see what that looks like and how that sounds if we go back to the sample. Now you can also copy and paste this too, which is a great feature. So let's say I'm going to play with this. I like this sound, but I want to mess around with it. So I'll copy that EQ setting, then I can reset it, then you hit go, it applies it. Now the fact that it applies it indicates to me that it could very well be creating a sample file, probably in the cache. So it may go through this process over again once you load it. I don't really know how this works. I do know for a fact though that it is non-destructive and it's not additive. So if let's take an extreme example here. Let's solo this snare. And let's add some EQ to this. Now if I boost the top end, so you can hear when the low velocity sample plays. So you can hear it. It really stands out. It's really not half bad, actually. I'm tempted to leave it, but you see the effect that it has. Now, I can easily undo that. I just have to make sure it's selected and hit reset and then hit go. And we're right back to square one. Now let's go back and let's add that top boost again. And if I continue to add this, it doesn't apply it to the previously EQ'd sound. It just applies exactly what I've just dialed in to the sample, which is good to know. So don't worry about playing around with your samples. It's a little hard for you to tell because I can't really show you the cumulative effect because the program does not do that. But I know this was a concern back when I was trying to keep things simple and didn't want to destroy my sample sets. So you don't have to worry about that. Go back to reset. And the sample is just like it was when you started out. So that's basically the EQ function. I think it's important to note that it doesn't destroy your samples, but it's also important to note that it's not really writing this to a sample set, as far as I know. Now, somebody might be able to correct me on that, and I do not know for sure what function the cache. There's a cache folder in the DrumPerfect file structure, and I'm pretty sure it has something to do with the EQ'd files, but that's just a brief look at the powerful EQ function, and this is just really great, like I said, to help you create these low-level, to simulate high and low velocity samples through EQ. So I hope that helps you a little bit.